Hi, everyone. I'm Nadir Burris, a classroom teacher here at Howard.
And I'm Lazar Williams, the instructional specialist at Howard. We also have a part time instructional specialist, Sunshine Birch.
We're excited to share the story behind one of our high school reliability leading indicators. Teachers are provided with job embedded professional development that is directly related to their instructional growth goals. Let's begin with a quick look at our survey data across stakeholder groups. The leading indicator, students were 41 students took the survey with an average of 2.79. Staff, 19 staff took the survey with an average of 4.49. And parents, 29 parents took the survey with an average of 4.38. As you can see, our staff and parents gave very strong ratings, indicating that professional development is not only accessible, but also meaningful and aligned with our instructional goals. The student rating, however, was lower at 2.79. This contrasts the highlights as an important growth opportunity. When we break down the student responses, it becomes clearer. Students rated highly the idea that my teacher spends time learning how to be better teachers with a mean of 4.44, but gave much lower ratings to coaching and video based reflection practices. This shows us that while students do recognize our commitment to growth, they may not always see the behind the scenes work that we do, such as coaching, cycles, or video analysis. On the other hand, both parents and staff clearly see the intentional connection between PD and instructional growth. With staff ratings above 4.44 across all items, this is a strong validation of our systems, from teacher led PD to coaching and reflection practices that drive goal achievement. Based on the findings, we've identified 2.5 as a strength and a proof indicator. Staff and parents' perspectives demonstrate that our professional development is intentional, embedded, and aligned to teacher needs. That said, the lower awareness gives us room to grow visibly in helping students understand that teacher learning is happening constantly, and it benefits them directly. What makes 2.5 a strength? Here are some of the specific practices and artifacts that support this indicator. PD at the beginning of the year. Our school kicks off with targeted district supported professional development aligned to our curriculum and instructional priorities.
I'm going to now show you our professional development schedule for the beginning of the year. Well, at the beginning of the year, we have a variety of professional development. We're learning about crisis and trauma intervention. We also learn about the teacher evaluation system. This year, we did an overview of capturing kids' heart. We make sure to include all of those things in our meetings so that we're living the things that we're expecting the students to do while we're in the classroom with them.
Teachers are offered meaningful professional development over the summer, giving us time to reflect, learn, and plan ahead.
Here is the document that we have. Here's the previous document for our professional development through the beginning of the school year. As you can see, we have a work day. Here we were working on U-Fly material. We looked at Kagan strategies for our upper grade teachers. These are just the trainings that our teachers have at the beginning of the year. In our summer professional development opportunities, this is the pre-approved professional trainings that we're offered. We can work on PLC, capturing kids' heart. We are able to select whichever professional developments we need to work on to improve our skills. There was a math camp that was offered. If we're interested in some science, we can look down here. There's space camp opportunities. We can really understand the next generational science standards. Just a variety of different trainings that we can use to help strengthen our abilities and that directly relate to our skills needed for the classroom. For literacy, We had some vocabulary professional developments. There was some Atlas book talks. They go from elementary. Here's an elementary one for demystifying writing. So there's just a lot of different professional opportunities that we can all use. Even our pull-out teachers that do athletics or media specialists, they have different requirements so that they can enhance their pedagogical skills.
So we also have Eureka math training. Consultants visit throughout the year to deepen our understanding of math and content with planning. TNTP coaching, a monthly visit from a phonics consultant, allows us for real-time feedback and improvement.
Here are some ways that we use our Eureka math training. We were working with, I believe her name was Miss Castillo, if I'm not mistaken. So we looked at some leadership learning while she came. We worked through this professional development where our leadership, we were able to learn how to go in and observe. We found ways to quickly assess what our teachers are doing so that we can help them strategically plan. It helps us guide the PLC process, as well as it gives us intentional focus areas for our coaching and feedback that the teachers would need. The Eureka brought this tool where she told us we could either count or script the data. You can capture it just by recording the work that we're seeing. And then we began to script the students' work that they were doing. So having this tool and going over it with the Eureka specialist, which is our math curriculum, really helped us as a leadership team to hone in on which areas our teachers were working well with and which areas still had opportunities for growth. Another resource that we used, and we looked at this with our classroom teachers, was the implementation support tool. And this was a document that our teachers were able to use for each component of Eureka. As you can see here, this is the fluency piece. We were able to highlight areas that our teachers were doing well. They were able to look at this document and circle one or two things that they could give a thumbs up to that they were doing, whether it was something in instructional habits or adapting their instruction. So this is the highest level of achievement that we want to see our teachers use, but we have to make sure that we're doing the core implementation first. So each component of Eureka Math had some look fors that teachers could identify that they were doing, and they could also pick out one area that they can improve in. We worked with our Eureka consultant to improve our area of need. Here is more fluency continued. As you can see, this goes into the application problem. So we really dissected the components of Eureka Math, and we could determine what areas were doing good and what areas still need to improve. This part of the implementation tool talks about the concept development. This is where the real teaching happens for Eureka Math. And then, so this was a focus area for us. And then it gives us some student expectations down here. If we're seeing these things, then we can assess our teachers and our students to know that the curriculum is being taught with fidelity. Down here we get to the problem set. Our teachers doing the problem set, our students doing the problem set. We've had a lot of conversation around that. And then student debrief, where it's kind of like the closing of our lessons. So this implementation tool was very helpful in us to see where we needed to work with our next professional development. Now we're going to take a look at some of the TNTP material that was shared with us from our TNTP coach. Well, before we do that, here is a letter from the Eureka Math coach, just kind of giving us a brief overview of what her work with us was. So we talked about promoting student discourse. We also talked about academic ownerships, giving the responsibility to the students. She said that Howard's leadership team, instructional coaches, and teachers have engaged and participated in the 5 days of Eureka Math coaching so far. She's listed the different things that we worked on. It's very similar to the things I've just talked to you about. This document is in our folder as evidence. It's also linked to the HRS lagging indicator document. Here she talked about what we need to continue doing, reflecting on our lessons, opportunities for us to improve. And as you can see, this is instructionally instructional goals at Howard are definitely job embedded so that we can promote discourse and ensuring our students are having that ownership for their learning. So our Eureka Math that was our Eureka Math. Now we're going to look at TNTP, which was our state mandated support because we were a D school. So we're working toward overcoming that D school. So we had Cecilia Gallagher. This is an agenda from when she was here with us in March. So it just shows the purpose, what we're doing with her. TNTP really focused on helping our teachers understand UFly. Miss Gallagher was instrumental in helping our teachers kind of internalize different components of the UFly, which was a new phonics curriculum. She worked with our K2 teachers, but she also worked with our third grade teachers to see how they could use some of the UFly skills to support where the benchmark was lacking. So she shows us the purpose here and then the different goals that we have. This is a schedule. She also empowered our teachers to visit other classrooms to do observations. And now we have people from other schools coming in to see our kindergarten teachers because if kindergarten can do it, then we know that first, second can do it as well. And we just want to set the tone for all Fort Smith schools that the students are capable. We just have to give them the ownership. So working with our TNTP coach, we learned a lot of different things. Like I said, we have ownership. We learned how to do a pathway so that we can track and record student growth. We learned how to make sure that we're using our time wisely, but also to adjust the instruction as needed. Here's another schedule that we have from her. This one was in April. Again, same type of thing. We have monthly data collection with Mrs. Flake, our principal, who guides our professional development, making sure that what we need is included in our or embedded in our learning. There's the goals. Here's the schedule where she would go in and observe a teacher, give them feedback, observe a different teacher, talk about what they needed to. Some of these teacher teams met together for feedback and some met independently. So we definitely used our consultants to improve our instruction.
Each of these lagging indicators shows that our professional development is not just a checklist item, it's embedded in ongoing and directly tied to our growth goals.
And I would also like to say that Miss Gallagher worked with the instructional observations for our teachers, and they created a curriculum so that it could support the benchmark. And she also shared some resources with the instructional specialists, Teach Like a Champion, so that when our teachers say there's an area like a student isn't engaged, we were able to look in that resource and find it. So she had some research based evidence, and we were able to utilize that in our coaching cycles as well. Although we've identified 2.5 as a strength, we do recognize that student feedback as a chance to grow. One goal moving forward from our teachers is to make sure that our own learning is more visible to our students, whether through classroom discussion, post-it goals, or inviting students into the reflection process. We want them to see that our learning never stops, not even for teachers. We do not have a plan of action for this indicator, as it is a strength.
Thank you for taking the time to learn more about how we're growing as educators. Our commitment to professional development isn't just about meeting goals, it's about building a culture of learning that supports everyone in our school community. We're proud of where we are and we're excited about where we're going next.